Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are joining me for the first time, my name is Melissa Reed and I'm a mixed media artist from southwestern Pennsylvania. So today I'm going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while. I have been collecting some pieces of fabric, mostly different kinds of like lace and different crocheted doilies and things that I have picked up just wherever that I happen to find them. Some of them I got at the Dollar Tree. Some of them I went to my local Goodwill and found all kinds of neat patterned runners and even just pieces of like this one here was actually a piece of a child's dress that I cut off because I thought they looked like they would be really interesting to do some gel prints. And I did, my short video this week, if you saw it, was one of these prints that I did, but I'm going to use these pieces along with some other things that I have around the house. I have a few pieces of denim from a pair of jeans that I cut off into shorts and some socks with interesting patterns on them. And the point of making these collage papers, I am going to be doing a project with them in the future. I have a loose idea, not 100% sure yet, but that will be in a future video. I will let you know whenever I am ready to go ahead and do that. But for right now, today, we're going to be printing some of these beautiful patterns. I don't know if you've ever tried lace printing or fabric printing, but you can get some absolutely beautiful textures and designs with the lace. I'm going to be using a variety of different papers. I have some music sheets, I have rice paper, I have a couple different kinds of music sheets, and I'm actually going to try some just regular lined notebook paper just for something different because I've never printed on that. And we'll see what we come up with. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Check it out. So this first piece of fabric is a lace table runner that I picked up at my Goodwill the other day. They had a few of them and I really liked the patterns and thought that they might make something beautiful on the gel plate, and I was not disappointed. So for this first one, I'm just using a little bit of Liquitex Mars Black as my first layer on the plate there, and once I get everything smoothed out, I'm going to very carefully lay that crocheted lace right down there on top of the plate. I'm trying to get it as smooth as I can and get the part of the fabric that I want to print nice and square there. I'm using right there a piece of tissue paper as a pickup sheet, and I am basically just, using pressure from my hands to pick up any of the ink that I didn't want left there. So while that's drying, I'm going to mix up an olive green color, and I'm sure some of you probably know this, but if you mix yellow and black together, just a little bit of black in with yellow, you can get the most beautiful shades of olive green. Isn't that great? I love that so much. Olive is one of my favorite shades, and you can vary the tone and the intensity based on the amount of yellow versus black that you put in. I wanted it a little bit darker, so I added just a bit more black to that. And now that that is all dry, I'm just going to go ahead and lay that down on the plate there and brayer it out as I normally would. I love the color. I love the way this print turned out, and it really kind of opens up a whole bunch of opportunities. You could do several different prints using that mixture, but varying the amounts of yellow and black to get several different shades of olive that will always work well together. So that's a piece of rice paper that I put down. I think I got that off of Amazon, and there is a link for that as well as a lot of my other frequently used items in the description. But isn't that beautiful? Look at the detail that you get from that. And that olive color is just gorgeous. I'm very, very happy with this print. So for this next one, I still have a little bit of that paint left. So rather than waste it, I'm going to mix up a slightly different color of olive to use with that. So I added a little bit more yellow to lighten it up, and it turned into this lovely green gold kind of color, which I absolutely love. That's actually a paint color that I use a lot of in my work, but I've made my own here now, and I kind of love that. So I'm getting that smoothed out on my plate there, and this next piece of fabric is also one that I found at the Goodwill. It's another lace runner there, crocheted as well. And again, I'm using this same sheet of tissue paper as a pickup sheet every time. One, because the tissue paper, first of all, tissue paper for this purpose is great because it's such a fine paper that you can really get in those little holes and work it up to pick up what you want. But also, I'm using the same sheet because I just kind of wanted to see what would happen. I'm not planning on necessarily using it, but if I get a cool pattern, I probably will. So that's a little bit of Naples yellow that I put on as my pickup color there. And I have a piece of sheet music. I'm just picking up a little bit extra because I didn't get that quite all the way to the edge there. And I'm pulling up this print, and look how beautiful that one is as well. You can still see a little bit of the sheet music through that Naples yellow in the background because it's such a light color. But that lovely homemade olive with that Naples yellow just works so nicely together. And because I made that green out of the same colors that I made my previous green out of, those will work really well together in a collage. Okay, I had to try something with the Grumbacher red because if you've watched any of my videos, you know that it is my absolute favorite red paint. It is just gorgeous and has such a nice saturation of color. So I thought I would use that piece that I cut off of the child's dress to try this one out. Now, another great thing about using the tissue paper is you can really see what you're picking up. So you'll know if you missed any spots that you might not want to miss when you're using your pull-up sheet there like I did. And when I take that off, I don't love this one as much as I like some of the other ones, but I think it will have a place. And I'm just picking this up with a little bit of my matte gel medium because I couldn't really think of a color that I wanted as a background color. So I thought I would print this one on some of the notebook paper just to see what kind of a pattern I could come up with. I was just using that sheet to get the little paint that was coming through the holes there in the paper. So it's an interesting pattern, and I do like the notebook paper because, like I said, I've never printed on that before, and I think it would make an interesting addition to a collage. Not my favorite print, but we'll move forward from there, and maybe I'll try something different with it later. So instead of cleaning off the plate, I decided to leave that Grumbacher red on there and go in with a nice teal color. And honestly, I just kind of wanted to see what I could come up with. I got this piece of fabric at the Goodwill as well, and it's like an athletic fabric. It's like a camo athletic fabric. I just really liked the little holes in it. And again, I'm using that same sheet of tissue paper to go in there and really lift up everything that I can out of those little holes so that I get a really good print of just the circles there, the ovals on that. And it's kind of hard to tell there, but when I pull up the print and show you, you'll see what a really cool print I'm getting off of there. I decided to go with fluorescent orange as a pickup color since I used the teal as my initial color just because, you know, complementary colors on the color wheel. I thought that would look really nice together and be a great contrast, and you could really see the pattern. And honestly, I was not disappointed. So when I pull this up, you will see here in a minute what a lovely print that was. A little bit of it stuck there, and sometimes that happens, but this is not going to, I mean, this is going to be collage paper, so it doesn't matter to me too much because it's still definitely usable. But look at the definition of those marks on there, those little ovals, and I think the color combination just worked together really well, and that's going to go beautifully in a collage that I'm going to be doing here in the future. So you might have noticed that I'm doing a variety of colors. One of the ideas that I had is to do florals, and I'm going to be purchasing a floral punch, and I wanted to have as many options for colors as possible here. So some of these are color combinations that I don't use typically, but I think they're going to be beautiful when I use them all together with this collage idea that I have. So that's just another crocheted doily type thing. I got that at the Goodwill as well. I kind of hit the jackpot with that this last time that I was there. They had a lot of really cool things. Now, I mixed together some light pink and some fluorescent orange just to see what I would get there. I'm not really sure how this one's going to turn out. I'm actually using some book pages to pick up the design on here. And I used several different ones because obviously, you know, they're not going to fit on the whole entire board. So I've got little bits and pieces, but you can see some of the really interesting patterns that came off of that. And I think those are pretty cool, and I'll definitely be able to work with those a little bit in the future. So that is a piece of lace doily that I think I might have picked that one up at the Dollar Tree. I can't remember. And I've noticed from printing before, oh, by the way, this is just a little bit of titanium white that I'm putting down. These doilies that have the little teeny tiny holes in them, when you print them, it almost looks like a snake skin. You'll see here when I pull it up. You're not going to be able to tell with it laying on the plate because it's a little too far away. But when I pull that up, you'll see that it's an interesting, almost snakeskin-like pattern. I discovered that when I started doing this a while back, and it's just kind of interesting. I still had some of that green left, and I didn't want to waste it, so I thought I would mix just a little bit more
And then I decided that I wanted to lighten it up a little bit, so I added some titanium white to the mix, and it made this interesting like green-gray color, which I really liked. It wasn't necessarily what I was going for, but it's interesting, and I think with the white that I have on there, it worked really well. And I'm not concerned. I didn't have it mixed entirely, and I'm not concerned about that because, again, these are going to be collage papers, so the more differences and interests that I have in them, in my opinion, the better, because what I'm going to be using them for is going to require, I guess is a good word, a bunch of different textures and colors. So I laid another piece of lace down over top of the original one before I'm picking it up, and I'm just picking it up with a little bit of that turquoise, and I just wanted to see what kind of difference I could get using two different laces in the same print, and I think it worked out really well. You'll see here, you can really see that underneath layer that I said looks like snakeskin. But you also have the larger holes from the top piece of lace that I put on, and I think it makes it look really interesting. Isn't that neat? I'm just really happy with these. Every print I pull just makes me think of 1,000 more ideas and so many possibilities. That's what I really love about using the gel plate. There are just endless possibilities. Okay, that is a pant leg off of a piece of, from a piece of denim that I had from shorts that I cut off, and I just want to see what I can get from that pattern of the denim itself, and then there's a seam on there, which of course is going to pick up because the gel plate will get all of those tiny little details. And I'm using a little bit of fluorescent red to pick this up. Incidentally, if you hear a noise in the background, it is so cold in here. I have my little space heater on and it just keeps kicking on and off, so I apologize if that's annoying to anybody, but I'm freezing. So I used a little bit of fluorescent red and fluorescent orange to pick this up because I thought that would go really well with the black that I have down for the detail part. Again, I'm using just a piece of rice paper here, and I think that turned out really interesting. If you look closely here, which I'll bring it up to you, you can easily see the actual denim pattern on there, but then it has that interesting seam coming right down the middle there, and I just like the way that looks together. Definitely some possibilities. I don't love it as, you know, a print in and of itself, but for the collage paper, it's going to be perfect. Okay, for this last one, I have an old pair of socks that I've been meaning to throw away, but I thought, you know, the top band part of that has some pretty interesting patterns, so it's probably going to look a lot like corrugated cardboard. And it did actually end up looking like that a lot, but just kind of goes to show you that you can look around your house and find all sorts of things that maybe you were going to throw away that you can possibly use to make some interesting collage papers out of. I have a lot of other socks that had more interesting patterns on them, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice them for my art today, so maybe in the future when that becomes possible, I will. But for this, I'm using a little bit of the Naples yellow to pick up, and I didn't wait for that to dry completely. I set the rice paper down on top of the plate and just immediately pulled it. So it's not going to pick up every little bit of the paint, but it's going to give me a nice little impression there. And you can see it does look an awful lot like the corrugated cardboard, but I love the way some of it picked up and some of it didn't. And there's that natural variegation of the pattern right there in the print. So I'm going to pull all of the prints back into the frame here and show you again what we have done today. I really love the way these turned out. Some I like more than others. Really digging that green that I made there, and I will definitely be mixing up a lot more of that in the future. But let me know what you think. That one right there is my absolute favorite. Let me know what your favorites are. And let me know if you've tried this before and if you have any tips or suggestions. I'm always looking for those. Here's that pickup sheet with the tissue paper, and you can see all of the interesting little designs and patterns that transferred over there. I think that's pretty cool, and I definitely am going to be using that for something. I don't know what. I may actually just keep that around, and if I do some more printing, I'll just keep adding right on top of that. Because, hey, if you're just using it as a collage paper, why not make it as interesting as possible, right? Well, anyway, thank you all for joining me again today, and as always, I appreciate each and every one of you. If you're interested in my content, give me a subscribe, and I put out a new video every Friday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time and different shorts throughout the week. But thank you all and have a great day.